Alright, so this is going to be the video about the Desert Bridge. The Desert Bridge is a huge pain for speedruns of Luigi U and Mario U. And the reason it's a huge pain is because it's very random. You do one movement on the world map as Luigi, and all three of these enemies choose a random direction to move in. Or two enemies and an acorn choose a random direction to move in. And you would think that you really have no control over this. And for the longest time, yeah, the strat has been basically just to try to go through the bridge and pray. Pray you don't run into an enemy. If you pick up the acorn, it loses 6 seconds, but you just suck it up and continue your run. Until now, because I figured something out. So this bridge always starts in the same configuration, and I'll link a screenshot to that on Twitter. And the reason that's really important is because they start in the same configuration, and they don't actually start moving until you move from that starting spot of World 2, the one to the right of the pipe. They don't start moving until you move from that spot into 2-1, meaning that, during a normal speed run, as you're making your way to 2 Tower, they move 4 times before making it to 2 Tower. So when you start the bridge, they've moved 4 times. The reason that's so significant is because that space right there on top of the Hammer Bro and that space to the right of the Hammer Bro, there is no possible way for any of those enemies to end up on either of those spaces if you've moved them 4 times. No possible way. And why is that important? Because if an enemy is on one of those 2 spaces, when you move to the right to land on the space I'm on now, what very often happens is the enemy's right in front of you like this. And if it is, you're guaranteed to get on the bridge every time without getting hit, because that enemy can't move towards you, so it can only move away. Just like that. Impossible to get hit. So it is impossible to get a situation like that in a run though, right? If you can only move them, 4 times, and then even if, you want to try to move them more... Let me do this. Oh no. Okay. If you want to move them more, you have to move it an even number of times, right? Move away from the space, come back. Move away from the space, come back. That sucks, right? It would still be an even number of times, so they're just going to keep moving away from the space they're on and then back on. There's nothing that you can really do unless they move away from the entry of the bridge. What if I told you there's a way around this though? If you just move away from this space right here and then hold left to immediately come back to it, the enemies only move once and you stay on the same space. So you can move them an odd number of times. That's really important. Now it opens up the possibility for one of the enemies being on one of those 2 spaces I pointed out to give you a guaranteed bridge entry. So let me mess around for a second just so I can get them back to where they were at. Okay, so yeah, now look, I can get an enemy onto one of those spaces and get a guaranteed bridge entry. It's crazy, it works every time. And the reason is this. So when you're over here, and that Goomba is on that space right there, let's just run through every possibility. So that Goomba can move left and then right again, you're safe. It can move left and then up, you're safe. It can move up and then down, you're safe. It can move up, then up, you're safe. It can move right, then left, you're safe. It can move right, then up, you're safe. No way for that Goomba to hit you. Same with the acorn. The acorn can move up, then right, you're safe. It can move up, then down, you're safe. It can move down, then up, you're safe. It can move down, then right, you're still safe. Every single time, nothing can hit you. If one of these enemies is on one of those 2 spots when you're on 2 Tower. So if you can, keep moving away from 2 Tower and then moving back onto it, you can actually manipulate these enemies to never hit you as you enter the bridge. Just like that. Now you might still have to deal with the second enemy a little bit, here I am still, faced with some RNG. It's not a perfect strategy, but it helps a lot. Now, I'm gonna actually demonstrate something else real quick. Okay, well, after I get back. Oh no, I'm just gonna exit. So, that was the initial strategy I found. But then, I thought of something a little bit faster. So, that's a good strategy if, you know, you don't want to do the math. But if you can do the math, you can actually see, is one of these enemies a space away from one of those 2 designated spaces I was talking about, right? And if it is, here's what you can actually do. You can move up, and then you can go right back down, and then you can't buffer this up press. You have to actually wait for Luigi to land back on 2-3 and then press up again, and that'll effectively move them 1 extra time. And so that's the fastest way to do it, is when you're going from 2-3 to 2 tower. Just do an extra little movement there. And if you can successfully pull that off, then it should work. And so you can reliably at least enter the desert bridge and get past your first enemy, which is gigantic for speedruns. So yeah, that is the explanation. I'll see if I can show it off real quick. Hold on. So, right, like, this Goomba is 1 spot away from that space I talked about now. So, oh, this doesn't quite work out on a post-game file, but I'll just try to do a demonstration over here. The reason a post-game file is a little bit different is because this space right here also does a movement, but that does not happen on in an actual run. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Oops. So I'll just try to do a demonstration right here. So right now this Hammer Bro is in a position to screw me, right? 2 movements, he's very likely to land on that starting position again. So I move him once, now we're good. Guaranteed bridge entry. Every time, easy. Super easy. And that is the desert bridge.